about storm safety when traveling. And this is a live stream, so you guys feel free to join me and jump on in. And at some point during the live stream, we are going to have just a few seconds to a moment of silence for the YouTube tragedy that happened at the YouTube office today with the active shooter. You know, unfortunately, we're hearing about shooting instances more often, and it's becoming more and more powerful, I guess you could say, or massive when the shootings occur. And so, you know, we're going to have a moment for them in just a little while. The main topic of the live stream is going to be storm safety when you're traveling. This is storm season, guys. At least it is in the Southeast. And a lot of us, myself included, are in what they call Dixie Alley. Now, most of us are familiar with Tornado Alley out west, but there's actually a secondary little nicknamed Dixie Alley, and that is where in the Southeast you're a little more prone to tornadoes as well. So, how do you stay safe when you travel? Because you guys know I'm like road tripping all over the place here any chance that I can. And that means that sometimes we've run into some rough weather. And now when I mean rough weather, I'm talking about driving through record rainfalls and, of course, spotting some tornadoes and some really bad thunderstorms. Actually, I have a funny story about a tornado. It's not that the tornado is funny, but fortunately it was in a field, so there wasn't damage to like a house or a business. But we were out traveling and saw the tornado. Now, my husband and I took the National Weather Service storm spotting class. These are free classes that anybody can take. You don't have to be a super big weather buff, and you don't have to be a storm chaser to take the classes, which I think is really important to know. But on the storm safety, if you travel a lot, that storm spotter class is invaluable because it tells you how to read the sky and what to look for. So that way you can tell a little bit more if you're going to be safe or not. Now, sometimes things just literally come out of thin air. There's nothing you can do about that. We were actually in a situation a few years ago when we were out camping and there came up a sudden windstorm. It was not predicted and it came out of nowhere, and it wasn't a tornado, but we had apparently a funnel that went overhead, and so the end result was there were trees that landed right next to our campsite. It was actually in a campsite that we were offered at first and had rejected. So if we had taken that site just as the luck of the draw, it would have been devastating for us. So I'm really glad that didn't happen. That was at night, and it's a little hard to pay attention at night because you're sleeping. Unfortunately, our phones did not go off to alert us about the storm either. So how do you stay safe when you're traveling, knowing that your phone may not get that alert? Because, you know, sometimes when you set up alerts, you set it up for a certain geographic area, or it goes with the area code on your phone. That can be a problem. There are different apps that you can use. Now, one of my favorite apps is actually from AAA. And one of the reasons that I like it is because it can be adjusted. And you can set it up to where you get the notification on the app, or you can set it up so that the notification comes in by email. And both of those are really good to have. So Yeah, I like that. But for me, probably what my favorite travel tool is to help stay safe during a storm when you're traveling, other than awareness and knowing what to look for with those storm spotter classes, which are actually free from the National Weather Service. Um, it's just a basic weather radio. You can get them, and they're really small, so they don't take up a lot of space. It's about the size as one of those old transistor radios, but you can also get them where they are a flashlight with a radio built in, and some of them are even hand cranked, so you don't ever have to worry about running the battery down as long as you're willing to crank it. So it's got that positive and negative going on, but it's really good to help you stay safe. But I will say that honestly, when it comes to being on the road and storm safety, nothing beats vigilance and the preparedness. And you prepare by having some knowledge, by having the radio, by setting up the apps on your phone and on email. Also, local radio stations, just use that dial and just hit that scan button so you can find the most up-to-date information with that local radio station. Don't underestimate how important that is. I think a lot of us who are online have a tendency to check online first, and that's great, but sometimes you can't get a phone signal, and you can get the local news channels. So pay attention to where you are and to what towns that you're the closest to, because sometimes what I found on the radio is that you'll scan, and that's great, but you'll accidentally hit a radio station for a town that may be 70 or 80 miles behind you, when what you need is the one that's about 30 miles in front of you. So it's those little things to pay attention to. Now, I also found it helpful, especially when we were going through a fire area, very helpful to just find a place where you can go inside and ask. And I know, I know what you're thinking, especially you guys. You don't want to go in and ask, and I totally get it. But, I've heard a story among storm chasers, and I don't know if it's an urban legend or not, because there's just enough truth to it. But there's a story of a gentleman who was out chasing. He had some knowledge, and he was out hunting that storm, which he actually got a little too close to it. And so what happened was the wind started swirling around. He has to go inside a convenience store with several other people, and they actually have to ride the storm out inside a walk-in cooler. And he comes out, and part of the awning, allegedly, as the story goes, had collapsed onto his pickup truck. Now, the story is that the pickup truck was brand new, but really, who knows? And this could be an urban legend. But there is some possibility for that to be true, and so you always want to pay attention to that. Also, of course, if you're traveling in an area and you hear a siren go off, pay attention to that weather siren. It's going to convey some information, and if the information only is that it's part of the system and it's working, that's still information that you need to know. So pay attention to that, and follow any instructions that you get. Now, places to stay safe. Here's the thing that you want to always keep in mind, is that while you're on a road trip, pay attention if the weather looks rocky. Always keep in the back of your mind where you can stop to safely get off the road. And now I'm not talking about underpasses. The National Weather Service has said at many of the trainings that underpasses are terrible places to be in the event of tornadic activity. So mark that off your list. Look for a place like a convenience store where they might let you into that walk-in cooler. A lot of your rest areas are actually also tornado shelters. A lot of people don't know that. Look at, and there are apps for this also, to help you find a rest area. Pull up that app, check it out, look and see where the rest areas are so you know how far you have to go. And if there's not one close by, then you're going to want to look for an alternative if you're out on the road. And so that's when a convenience station would work or might be helpful. Stores like Walmart, a lot of people think about Walmart, but it's actually a giant warehouse building that doesn't have a lot of super sturdy structure. So in the event of a tornado, that may not be the best place to be. A smaller restaurant or smaller sturdy structure may be the best place for you to be. So those are things to keep in mind while you're traveling. Another thing as far as places to go. Now, a lot of times camping is where you'll be, or at least that's where I'll be, because I'm a camping freak. So what happens if you're out on the campground and there's a sudden storm? Where do you go? Well, the night that the tree hit the campground next to us, that morning, that was kind of scary. And I was sitting in the van trying to think just that. But the next day, I was able to talk to some service personnel there at the campsite. And what they said is the bathrooms at the campgrounds, at least with the state parks in Tennessee, are designed to also be disaster shelters for storms. So check that. Also the shelters that or the areas that have like your laundry rooms and your main office for some of the campgrounds, those might double as well. So just if they're predicting kind of icky weather and you're going to be at a campground, ask them when you check in. Say, hey, just in case weather turns, where do I go? And also ask for the radio station information then too. Because your best information about local activity is going to come from somebody local. So you can search online all you want to, and I would encourage you to search online as you go, but your best storm safety information is going to come from the knowledge that you prepped up ahead of time with, and also from local folks on the ground. So your radio station, your TV station, vital. Ask when you get to a campground. If you're going to a hotel, ask then too. When I worked for a hotel, we used to have people ask us that all the time. So don't hesitate to do that, okay? The desk clerks are your friends. So pump them for all the information you can get, especially if it's slow. Just between you and me, they love it. I just had somebody come in. It's Auto Dreamer 77. Hello, Auto Dreamer 77. Welcome. It's good to see you. We're talking tonight about storm safety and travel. So if you have anything to toss out, go ahead and bring that out. So that's about all I have on the storm safety segment, is to prep, bring your radio, take your classes, and use that information and ask. So yeah, No, no big brilliant ideas. The burning one. Hi, welcome. Okay. And the burning one is saying, if you're in a tornado and don't have a bunker, the best you can do is get in the tub with a mattress or jump in a ditch or something like that. Lurking. Lurking is good. Hi and welcome. A mattress is good, especially like if you're at a hotel and there happens to be nobody on the desk, or if you're in one of the places where they only have staff during the daytime. I like that idea. So, and that's where you can apply anything that if you're in a hotel, you can apply anything that you would do at home to that situation. Excellent. I'm glad you brought that up because it's actually something that I probably would have forgotten to mention. It's very important. Also, another thing, the closer you are to a lower floor on a hotel, if you're expecting bad weather, the better off that you might be. So try to get a lower floor when you check in. You can request that. Okay? So that's what I've got tonight for storm advice. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Rusty Faith is here. Hi, Rusty. I was just fixing to actually jump off in a minute. What I'm going to do is pause for just a little while and then pop back on for just a general fun chat. Right now, the topic is storm safety when you're traveling. So don't forget, also while you're in here, give me a thumbs up. And I want to take... Ooh, Auto Dreamer's got a good idea. I used to carry a chainsaw in my vehicle during heavy storms just in case a tree fell off the road. Good idea, because sometimes that happens. And trees are not supposed to play in the road. So, but they do. So good for you for thinking of that. And I'm going to jump off here in just a minute. Happy Trails Hiking is coming in. Hi, Happy Trails. We were just talking about storm safety and traveling. So I was giving some of my best storm safety tips. I've amassed a few from all the experience I've had in the travel industry and all the road trips. Oh, I've got a note here. Okay, I got a tweet. Yeah, I did do that. Okay, one of the things that I said early on, and I am just getting a tweet that I forgot to elaborate on it, is my funny story when I was out on a trip and I saw a tornado. Now, okay, my husband and I took these classes from the National Weather Service. So we could see this forming off in the distance. And we could tell from where we were that it was going away from us and not towards us because of the way it was getting smaller and the storm was moving and all that stuff. I hadn't checked in with my daughter, so I called her and I checked in. And all of a sudden, it started getting windy. So I'm like looking around and stuff. And she was like, Mom, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, we're under a tornado warning and I'm watching it and we're okay. And we're under this gas station awning. And she was like, Mom, get away from that awning. Why are you on the phone? You need to go in there. You need to see if they'll let you in the walk-in. And it's like total panic mode. And I'm like, okay, just calm down. So my funny story. And don't be that guy. unless you happen to know a little bit about storms, enough to look at the sky around you and tell for sure like which way that storm's going. So I don't recommend it unless you've got just a little bit of information there and experience. So yeah. Do you have any tips, Happy Trails? I know you travel a lot too. Oh, I see now you said you'll have to watch in replay. Please do. Absolutely. And don't forget, you guys, when you come back to watch the replays and when you guys tune in later, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Like the video, share it. But definitely 2 other things. Subscribe if you haven't, and leave me a comment down below so you can share the information that you've got about storm safety with other people, because that sharing of information helps everybody that visits the channel. It's really important. So like Happy Trails just said to keep the weather radio ready. I talked about that just a minute ago. She's reiterating it. So you've got 2 people saying weather radio, weather radio. So listen to that. Happy Trails, is there a particular radio that you like? I can't really recommend mine. I love mine, don't get me wrong, but I bought it from Radio Shack years ago and they don't have that anymore. So, but you can get them off of Amazon, lots of places. We use some apps. Apps are great. Yeah, I like apps because you can update them as you travel, and Happy Trails is saying there's many options. I agree. Lots of options for apps and weather radios. Also, if you guys are listening to my channel and you like to travel and you like being outdoors, you're going to want to go to Happy Trails channels, because Happy Trails Hiking does a lot of great hiking and outdoors videos. So you're going to want to check them out. Lots of great tips in lots of areas. So you're going to want to peek at their channel too. So basically, I like your stuff, Happy Trails. And that is Happy Trails Hiking. When you guys come in and you see the replay, you'll see the link where she's left a message. So click that, go straight to our channel. And Happy Trail says, thank you, Gayle. We love the outdoors. We like your stuff too. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. So you guys, thank you again for watching and for tuning in. I appreciate that. What we're going to do is I'm going to sign off, and thank you all again for watching. Keep your weather radios handy. Pay attention to the local news, and yeah, so there you go. And again, don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. Happy Trail says, see you soon. Take care. You too. You too. Thanks. And y'all, I will see you out about and online. So, bye.